Good morning, Sean.
Morning, Anita.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are
That's
things
good.
over on the West Coast?
Oh, West Coasty. It's cold in the Okanagan today, but it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
hmm
Looking forward to summer. How's it in Vermont?
I was in the 40s last night, and but we're supposed to get up in the 80s today. Beautiful spring summer
Nice,
day.
nice. Mud season or no mud season?
Oh, we're past that at this point. We got a
Oh,
bunch of rain over the
okay.
weekend, but not no
Okay.
mud.
No mud. Really good. Good morning, everybody. We're just sort of waiting for a few more people probably to pop in. We had a lot of people register for this webinar, Sean. It was really exciting to see a lot of new names I haven't seen before, a lot of people that have been here with us in the past, lots of customers, lots of artists.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, so pretty excited. Got new trends for everybody. A little sneak peek here in the front, see if you guys can kind of figure them out. And I think we've got some exciting things to talk about. Wow, people keep pouring in. So I'm just going to keep watching and we're going to just keep chatting for a second here. If everybody doesn't mind, or not, we could just be silent.
Yeah.
Well, let's start off. I can tell you a little bit about myself for the people who haven't been here before. My name's Anita Peterson. I am the director of marketing at Wild Apple. I've been working in art licensing for 23 years, and I've been at Wild Apple for about 14. And my job is to make beautiful things like our lookbooks, these trend presentations, a bit of a trend addict. So that's kind of my role there. I do our marketing, our social media, our branding. And with me is Sean Harnan. He is our owner and CEO.
No, thanks for everyone for joining us today. We are definitely lucky to have Anita as she loves this stuff and is always on the tip of the spear when it comes to trends. So we love bringing this to everyone, and hopefully you guys find it useful. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun to put together. I'm just gonna keep it rolling through at this point now. So just the typical housekeeping that we always do. Leave your cameras and your mics off during the presentation. Belinda and Gretchen, who are fantastic, work with us at Wild Apple for a long time, are monitoring the chat. If you have any questions, you can pop them into the chat and we will answer them at the end. And just a little bit about who we are as Wild Apple. So I'm just curious, how many people, and I can't see the Zoom screen, so you're going to have to tell me, Sean. I just want to know how many people on this call have never been to one of our trend presentations before. Like give like a thumbs up or like a wave or like some sort of notification. So lots of people haven't been
well, I
maybe
think we're
on
seeing
one of the.
thumbs up, which
I am always like that. Like they've been to one, but they
I think
haven't.
they've been to one. Yes.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So, if you don't know who we are, so at Wild Apple, we connect, we're an art licensing agency and we connect artists with the global world of home decor. So, you kind of think of us, I would think of us as like creative matchmakers, right? We're pairing art with products that bring those products to life with incredible manufacturers from around the world. And as a leading B2B art licensor, we always curate what's new, what's next, and also what never goes out of style. So it's never always just about the trend. It's also about what is traditional and what has long lasting life. So our collections go beyond wall decor. So we do, of course, wall decor. We also license artwork for textiles, giftware, dinnerware, wallpaper, anything that makes a space more beautiful and that will take artwork on it. So again, timeless classics, trend forward designs. We help manufacturers and retailers keep their products fresh, inspired, and sort of in tune with what consumers are loving right now. And then I just want to hand it over to Sean to just sort of talk about like how we work and who we are and what it is
Yeah.
what happens at Wild App.
No, thanks so much, Anita. Many of you may know this, but I saw some people saying first time, so there may be some, first time here. Some there might be some people who don't really know what Wild Apple is. Um, John and Lori Chester started Wild Apple in 1990 out of a spare bedroom in Woodstock here in central Vermont. Um, they led the company for many, many years. And about 5 years ago, they decided that they were ready to retire. They wanted to travel more, spend more time with their grandkids. And I was very fortunate in the role as COO that we were able to make a seamless transition. And I was able to purchase Wild Apple. Why I highlight that little backstory is this is 36 years of independent ownership. Okay. We don't have to answer and don't answer to shareholders. We don't answer to investors. corporate boardrooms, any of that. Why that's so important? One, it's a team building part. It's what makes Wild Apple, we're Vermont, we're very family friendly, family focused, and our artist and our team. But it also allows us to pivot and change quickly when needed. Allows that agile and adaptability, whether it's trends like we're going to talk about today, whether it's industry changes, which we've seen a bunch out there in the art licensing industry recently, or even new technologies. We don't have to go to an investor and plead our case to be able to do something. We could pivot this afternoon if we have to. Okay. That's great if we can change and pivot to different, challenges that come up every week, every month, heck, every day. But
Yeah.
without our team, as Anita says, she's been doing this for 23 years. We have well over 200 plus years of combined art licensing experience. And that's just counting the people that are in-house with Wild Apple. If we started trying to add up the 90 plus talented artists that we work with all around the world, we'd be well into the thousands of years of experience, I am quite sure. Okay. This experience, this ability to move quick, stay forward on trends, helps us with our number one goal. And that is home decor manufacturers that we partner with, helping them hit their sales revenue goals, being able to build cohesive product collections that are trend forward and ready to go and sell through at retail. Okay. We do that with trend webinars like this, but we're constantly doing this behind the scenes. It's not just twice a year when we do a trend webinar. We have these meetings every other week talking about what's new, what are we seeing, what are we seeing, so that we can always be right at the tip of the spear. Okay. Exceptional file quality and ease of use, ease of working with us. We want to be the easiest partner to work with when it comes to art licensing, whether it's speed, whether it's quality, you name it. So if you got other questions, that's a quick little like, what is Wild Apple? What differentiates us? What makes us a leading art licensing agent out there, leading publisher? If you have other questions, definitely reach out to me or anyone on the Wild Apple team. We'd love to talk with you more about it. But with that
Yeah.
said, no one wants to hear me blab on. Okay.
Sure they
Okay.
do.
No, no, no. I'm going to
They
turn it
totally
back
do.
over to Anita and we'll jump into some trends here.
All right, so this is like my most favorite part of my whole entire job, Sean. So thanks for letting me do this for so many years. We're going to talk about these four trends that we're loving right now: Yacht Club, Boho Explorer, Go West, and Wild Animal. And I bet you some of you had sort of maybe picked some of these already in your head, and some of you were probably like, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that." This was hard. So this was hard to narrow it down to four. We wanted to keep this webinar to about 30 minutes. That seems to be the sweet spot that everybody tells us that they want. So we're trying to hit that 30-minute mark. So four trends. Two or three didn't make the cut, but I do have them on a Pinterest board for everybody. So we'll talk about that at the end. Okay, so Yacht Club. This is basically quiet luxury, but nautical. So it's not beach decor. It's not driftwood signs that say life's a beach. This is much more refined. I want you to think East Coast preppy, sort of coastal elite members only marina energy. And you can see where it's coming from in fashion right now. So if you look at that trend board, we're seeing a lot of this is fashion stuff that we're looking at. Brands like Ralph Lauren are really diving into that return to sort of the classic American prep, navy blazers, cable knit, sailing references, rope. But it feels lighter and it feels a little bit more modern than sort of the old Ivy look. And Dior has been leading into that with some sort of polished nautical influence in resort and menswear. Tailoring, softened, it's more relaxed, it's vacation at the coast attitude. And even the fact that boat shoes are trending and tells you everything. So what's changed and how restrained it's become. So it's less about showing off, right? And it's more about the look. Like you've always belonged at the yacht club. You were always marina only. Yeah, I was born here. So in interiors and in licensing, that's translating into very specific visual languages. So crisp navy and white, sun-washed neutrals, rope textures, subtle stripes, quiet heritage things, those sort of insignias, little vintage nautical references, but done in a really edited way. But it's not all serious, right? It's not, there is room for fun in products like pillows and dinnerware and stationery with nautical icons, anchors, fresh takes on patterns that sort of help manufacturers sort of build these gorgeous collections. And for art licensing, that's strong because it's not trend heavy in a really noisy way. It's sort of repeatable and it's scalable and it's very cross category. So it works well in wall art and textiles on tabletop. And so we're even seeing it on packaging. But the key again is restraint. It's knowing what to leave out is just as important as what you put in. And so we just want to talk about boat shoes for just 1 second. Because have you noticed, like I was just at an event on the weekend and literally I would say half the women there were wearing boat shoes. So it seems to be like the hot footwear of the summer, and luxury brands are really on it. So we can see that, like you see that they're down there is like a Dior leather and canvas boat shoe for only, I think, 13 or $1,400, which a little bit out of my price range. But I
Wow.
remember, Sean, I don't know about you, but I remember boat shoes from middle school. That was like in the
Oh,
in, in
yes.
the 80s.
Docksiders.
Right. And like my mom reminded me, she was like, "Oh yeah, you wanted boat shoes, but your dad wouldn't buy them because he thought they were too ugly on a girl's feet." But
Oh.
Sean, you actually went sailing.
Yeah, this was a few years back. If any of you guys know, there's a sailing race, and luckily, a friend of mine was on a crew of one of the race boats. It goes from Hyannis out to Nantucket. It's called Fugawi. I won't get into where that name comes from, but some of you may know him. But anyways, I laugh because I think of boat shoes or docksiders, and when I got to see what real competitive sailors wear up close, there wasn't a single boat shoe on the boat. I just found it ironic that we're going after yacht club and
Yeah.
boat shoes really aren't used by real sailors.
So you didn't wear your boat shoes on the
I
on the
did
yacht when
not.
you were sailing? All right,
No.
gotcha. I
I
gotcha.
had dry booties. So,
But I think what's really interesting about that is we always need to keep in mind the art of the role of artwork, right? So we're talking about we're creating an aesthetic, not reality, right? So that's why like things like boat shoes and the way that we create artwork, is it the exact what goes on in in that yachting world? No, of course not. But we're creating a fantasy, right? That is part of what art, creativity, home decor does. So we're sort of seeing, again, we're seeing Timberland coming out with their sort of they did this Neapolitan coast and boat shoe editorial. Dior's coming out with their Dior Riviera collections, right? Their summer collections, they're sort of that they have every year. Lots of stripes, very nautical this year. We're seeing Prada come out with like purses with ropes on them, nautical ropes on them. So it's a really strong trend that's coming through. And when we look at wall decor specifically, we're sort of seeing this very sort of sophisticated looks. They're a little bit of lighter colors, not necessarily the deepest of blues. We're sort of seeing that sun wash, but lots of sailboats, beautiful washy, like the oysters that you're seeing there, shells and starfish, boats, coral, but in this very sort of restrained, very beautiful traditional way. And then when we look at product licensing, that's where it can always be a little bit more fun, right? We're seeing anchor patterns, beautiful stripe patterns, a little bit of that Mediterranean trend that we've talked about before, that's sort of evolving from that, right? So we are seeing still things like the sardines, but now lobsters, hydrangeas, in purses with scarves, so cute, rope detailing. So there's a lot of variety within this look that I think carries on really well. All right. So we just also wanted to give you guys some questions to think about when it comes to these trends, right? So one of the things that we're always talking about, and that how we think about in art evolution and trend development is like, for example, with Yacht Club, like how are you going to evolve these nautical designs beyond the obvious symbols? And what is coming? Where do buyers and manufacturers see the strongest commercial return? Is it stripes and icons, or is it going to be large seascapes? Is it both? And can we simplify the palette and still maintain strong recognition at shelf level? Like, how far can we push the palette? And we also want to make sure that this trend really reads quiet luxury. Does it sort of move over into novelty beach? There is still room for novelty beach in many different ways, but when we're talking about trend specific, that's not this. This is very much more quiet luxury. All right. So the next one we're talking about is Boho Explorer. And this is kind of the next chapter of Boho, but it's not sort of the 2015 Coachella festival version, and it's not purely nostalgic. It's got more depth. It's more about travel. It's more about craft. It's more about the intention. And we're seeing a big shift away from sort of polished minimalism, right? I think we've talked about that quite a bit. And so sort of people moving away from the, boring beige into much more layered and lived in. So interiors are still getting warmer. They're getting more textural. They're getting more collected. So we're thinking less super style, perfect showroom and more sort of found along the way. And that's really the heartbeat of boho. And it shows up in fashion first because it always does. So on the runway, we've seen it with designers like Chloe. They're leaning into softer structures, sort of natural movement, sort of romantic utility, and they have these sort of very flowing silhouettes, but it's also belts and boots and layered fabrics that feel like they've been gathered from different places and moments in time. And then you've got Etro sort of doubling down on rich pattern mixing, and that feels almost archival, right? With textiles collected over time. And that's really the shift, right? Boho isn't flat, it's dimensional and it's storied. And we're talking about botanical sketches, desert landscapes, global folk motifs, even some like subtle astrology and symbolic cosmic imagery. So, like the third eyes. And if you're feeling, it's sort of the feeling of a well-worn journal. And the artists, in the room here will sort of understand what we mean by like a well-worn journal, something that looks like you carried it through different places and climates and adventures. So color wise, it's not just earth tones. You're seeing a lot of earth tone on the screen there, but what you're also seeing are things like little unexpected pops of orange or pink or bright greens or aquas. And that's really important to this trend as well. So it's not just like one shade. It is very earthy, but there are lots of pops of color that come along with it. And so for art licensing, there's strong commercial opportunity because it solves a real retail need right now. And that's products that feel personal and not mass produced. And sort of that sort of brings Sean, to the point. One of the things that there's a lot of pushback in consumer marketing and consumer products is AI
Yeah.
and AI art and AI creativity. And I just want to remind everyone that at Wild Apple, we don't do AI art. We don't accept any AI art from our artists or from any potential artists. We are very much about human powered creativity. Although we do use AI in certain business structures, like business processes, but we would never use it within art creation.
This is
Um,
something that's very important to us as we represent over 90 plus, as I say, human artists. So no, I couldn't agree more, Anita.
Yeah, and so that push against AI is what we're really seeing with this sort of very layered texture. And I don't know if you guys have even been out there like sort of shopping for wall decor, but you're now seeing lots of like wall decor that is like hand stitched. So they're adding like additional things into it, sort of, to make sure that we're sort of representing that very sort of artist touch within product lines. So again, we're seeing it, across fashion. That's always where it's starting. And then we see it move into designers. And so for wall decor, it's a pretty varied look. So there's not sort of like one, I feel like you can get a lot of variety out of this look depending on what
Yep.
your own personal style is. We've got everything from dark backgrounds to lights, from pinks to, sort of more earthy oranges. We've got floral. We've got a lot of things like sort of like snakes and cosmic imagery. It's just really gorgeous and very varied. And then when it comes into products, we're also seeing lots of patterning, right? Sweet birds, again, third eyes, sort of very global folk patterning, all sort of being brought together. But then it sort of also leads to some questions, right? So we're sort of thinking about like our customers responding to more sort of literal travel. Like, do they want to see like travel icons or is it more emotional escape storytelling? And how far, I asked my questions like, how far can we push pattern mixing before it just becomes noisy? Like if we think back to that slide where we had the bed with all the various different bedding patterns on it, that looks very put together and really wonderful. But like how far can you mix that, like on a tablescape or in a living room? Like how far can we take that? And if Boho Explorer is really about collected memories, then what stories are missing? That's what we really need to be thinking about. What stories are missing from the market that we should be telling? So we have to keep watching sort of global trends and sort of see where this trend is going. All right. So the next one, I'm going to say this one's probably my favorite in the whole thing, Sean, but we'll get to why it's my favorite. So go west. We're going to sort of leave the coast. We're going inland. We're talking about the rustic side of quiet luxury, which is sort of traditional Western ranch. And what I really want you to do is I want you to think high-end estate meets sort of cozy old school equestrian cowboy. And it isn't loud, it's not costumey, but it's elegant, it's rugged, it's a heritage vibe. And it feels really polished and it feels very tailored and very premium for the home. And this isn't just for people living in Montana or Arizona or the Dakotas. We're actually seeing this as a massive aesthetic movement. We're seeing it hit the high-end European fashion shows with brands like Ralph Lauren and Polo. And they're showcasing how this lifestyle translates into sort of even sleek New York City apartments or a luxury mountain cabin side. And so we're seeing this look exploding across design circles. Like Living Tech are pointing directly to why traditional Western and sort of equestrian decor has become a hot trend in the market. And like style by Emily Henderson are tracking like sort of chunky vintage wood frames and traditional silhouettes that are making sort of a really big, massive comeback right now. And we're sort of seeing this storied luxury, right, on walls that have been sort of, I don't want to say flat and boring. That's kind of not nice. It's not flat and boring, but we're definitely seeing that there was a time when it was very sleek frames, very minimal framing, and now you're sort of seeing on the screen here sort of this very chunky gold frame, sort of sort of brought in to this look. And so again, it's about comforting layers. You're going to think like the caramel level leathers. My mouth vintage plaid blankets, heavy polished woods on walls. We're seeing lots of gallery walls with things like moody horse portraiture mixed with fine art photography, vintage leather boot illustrations, ornate gold frames, or deep sort of raw oak frames. And builders at Toll Brothers are sort of proving like how this sort of timeless layered ranch architecture can translate into sort of high-end residential interiors as well. And this is a total gold mine for sort of manufacturers and retailers because it feels really like an expensive and curated, but it becomes really comforting and warm and familiar. So when people see it, they sort of have this like sort of very visceral reaction of comfort to it. So it really translates from massive statement canvases, like over a living room sort of, sort of sofa, but even down to just like cozy textures like tabletop ceramics or pillows or anything along those lines. So it's got a really wide network. And so I just want to talk about why I'm really always excited about this trend. So a massive part of why this is sort of has been building and is remaining a commercial sort of juggernaut is television. And it's the undeniable popularity of shows like Yellowstone,
Yeah.
and was it Landman, which is also really good. And its upcoming spinoffs. Well, the spinoffs are actually out. They're sort of permanently embedded right into like the aesthetic and sort of mainstream culture right now. Because I think every woman wants to be Beth Dutton a little bit. And Wild Apple, we're kind of right in the middle of it. So Sean, we're really proud that
Yeah.
we've actually supplied art prints for the new spinoff series Dutton
Yeah,
Ranch.
we're the major supplier of artwork for the Dutton Ranch spinoff. And all the artwork you're seeing here on the right-hand side of your screen is some of the many that we've supplied to their set decorators and their production team. So it's pretty cool. If you've been watching it, you've probably seen Wild Apple artwork and didn't even realize it.
Yeah. And I think that's talking about sort of film and television, the reason why set deck and television film want to work with an art licensor like us is because we can clear artwork instantaneously. They don't have to track down if they go shopping for wall decor, they don't have to then track down artists and get clearance. They can just come to us. They can choose the artwork that they want, and then we can actually clear it without they don't have to clear it individually. We do the clearing for them.
Yeah, this is one of many that we work with. Morning show and many, many movies and State Farm commercials and you name it. We
Yeah.
we have a
It's a
bunch
lot
of
of
them.
fun.
It
It's a lot
is.
of fun. It's a lot of fun. So again, we're sort of seeing this across fashion. You'll see there's Ralph Lauren Polo. We see it in Runway Magazine. We see it Western style is so back, five key pieces. People with good taste are buying first. I mean, it's just everywhere. You kind of just can't escape it anywhere at all. And so when we're looking at wall decor, we are seeing a very traditional sort of wall decor look, very sort of earthy tones, very sophisticated, gorgeous abstract landscapes, very sort of beautiful fine art photography of animals. I was always like, how many cow photographs can we have? And we can have a lot because there's a lot of calls for a lot of gorgeous cow photography, cowboys, horses, sort of very, but it's always very textural, all the artwork, all the photography. And then when we're looking at product, again, it's sort of the time where we can have a little bit more fun with things. So we're seeing, just a little bit more whimsy, pattern development, a little bit more color, but the two sort of meld very, very nicely together. Okay. So the question to think about with our Go West trend is, where is the biggest licensing opportunity? Is it typography and there's some more graphic statements, or is it scenic landscapes? Is it vintage Americana references? Is it that artisan pattern work? And if the new aesthetic continues to grow, what visual elements are becoming oversaturated? Like, will cows become oversaturated and we have to move on to a different animal? Is it going to be horses? Like, where will the shifts happen? And where is there that space for that fresh storytelling? And what will we come up with next? All right. So wild animal. So this is a little bit more of a fierce trend because it's
Hold on,
hard to
Anita,
believe.
you just did this so you could get Meryl Streep in here, right?
I did totally. And I was hoping that someone might buy me those Jimmy Choo shoes. I got to be honest. Those are pretty. Those are pretty amazing. And I do love me a Meryl Streep. So it's back. I think animal prints come in and out all the time, but it seems to be back in a really big way right now. And again, I think this is some of the whimsy that's coming back into people's lives. They're sort of moving out of that sad beige, gray, that sort of sterile minimalism that I think a lot of us felt was sort of really in for way too long. And I think people just got bored. And so they're craving personality and they want movement, they want a little bit of drama. So enter animal print. And it's always the ultimate, like, if neutral. Like, I have these animal print pumps that I wear, and every time I wear them people go crazy for them, but I think people have been scared to sort of bring it into their own wardrobes. But I definitely, it is absolutely everywhere right now. So if you just look at like pop culture, Devil Wears Prada too. So all the press tour that was going out was absolutely dominating feeds everywhere. And Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, they were stepping out in animal print. So Meryl was literally photographed. She was sort of wearing that killer, I think it's a leopard Givenchy coat in her appearance. And Anne Hathaway has been also doing runway magazine energy. She's been wearing like leopard and all different things as well. And then we all have to agree when Miranda Priestley says, animal print is a go, then the rest of us are going to listen. But um, while leopard has kind of been the key animal print for a long time, we're actually seeing a shift over into tiger print. And that it's a little bit more graphic, a little bit more unexpected, and it's a little it's rich and it gives her that maximalist pop of character. And I'm really loving seeing that out there right now. So the strategy behind the Wild Apple collection is making that sort of wild aesthetic sophisticated and also important, easy for customers to style. So we're not just doing literal basic sort of animal skins, right? We also have gorgeous sort of, hand painted collections of icons and animals lounging and lush and sort of moody botanical backdrops. So you got to remember, it's bold, it's confident, it's sort of high fashion, and it should make decorating our homes fun, right? We should be able to add a little bit of whimsy that way. So again, I love this ad from Ruggable. It says, "Your room isn't boring, it's your rug." I think that's really great. And again, we're sort of seeing it, where animal prints are sort of just, trending. Not We're already seeing it in home decor and definitely been seeing it in fashion for a while. So you'll see here for wall decor, it has that little sort of, it's graphic, but it really feels very sophisticated. It can have a sort of a vintage feel with our ones top left and bottom right. Also very graphic, can be very decorative. And it just feels very, I don't know, there's just like a really cool vibe to these. I love them a lot. And then for product, again, we're, fun patterns, but it doesn't have to be literal colors. You're seeing like pops of pink in there as well, right? A little bit of a jungle vibe. And then sort of more sophisticated, that very sort of deep, sort of forest green colors. Just a lot of variety, a lot of ability to be able to make lots of different products. So when we think about it, when we think about where the biggest opportunity for manufacturers is it statement wall art? Is it layered textiles, decorative accents? Is it lamps, fashion inspired pattern collections? And again, how do we evolve animal print so they feel fresh again? Are we going larger scale, smaller scale, unexpected color palettes? Are we doing more abstract interpretations? Where is this going within the industry? And are consumers, are they responding more to realistic wildlife imagery or to sort of more fashion-led interpretations or both? So, end of the day, those are the trends. So
Awesome.
I hope everybody loves them. I love trends. I know we all love trends at Wild Apple. We are always bringing out trends. So every week you'll see them coming out on our social channels. We're doing blogs on trending. We talk about trends a lot. So make sure you follow us for those as well. Um, and also on Pinterest. So we have a 2026-27 trend board with all these new trends that we talked about. You can go in there and see where I pulled inspiration from. And you're also going to see three additional trends. I think it's three. Is it three? That's the wrong slide. That's terrible of me, Sean. This is the wrong image. Uh, but there is a 2028 Pinterest board, and there are a few additional trends on there. I'll let you guys pop in there. I'll make sure everybody gets the link when we send out this replay to everybody. But there's additional trends in there as well. There's blurred floral, tiny blurred lines, tiny florals, and something else. Oh my gosh, my brain just won't let me remember. It'll be a surprise for everyone. And then we can just take any questions if anybody has any. And then we're right on time. This is amazing.
Yeah, I did want to say thank you, Anita, for the time and the effort that you put into this and the team behind the scenes that you guys don't see here at Wild Apple that helps pull together all the trends. And anyways, couldn't do it without you. Thanks, Anita.
Thanks very much. It's so much fun. Did we have any questions? I can't see anything because I'm so just staring at the presentation. Any questions from anybody or we're all good? Seeing some
I
hand
did see a
clapping.
couple questions come in about recording. Yes, we will be
Yep.
sending out a recording to everyone. So if you got in late or you have other people on your team that you want to see it, you can jump in there as well. So
Yeah, that'd be great. So we will send it out tomorrow. You'll get the presentation along with links to images on the website that you can sort of see a little in a little bit more detail. And like I said, follow us on on our social channels for more trends. If there's something you'd love to see us present or talk about, we'd love to hear your thoughts on what
I,
is
I do
going on.
I do see a couple questions coming in.
Oh, oh, sure.
Um, I believe they're coming in from some artists who are asking how to submit to
Yeah.
us. If you go onto our website and go to the artist page, there's a down and below in the menu, there is a how to submit your artwork. So start on the website. They get reviewed. If we see something that we feel is in demand from our manufacturing partners that we work with, and that we feel it fills a niche or a need here at Wild Apple, we will definitely get in contact with you.
Mhm.
Anita, there's some other questions. Sorry, this is
Okay.
Belinda.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how important is it to follow timely trends versus evergreen trends?
That's a really, really good question. And I think you have to do both, right? So evergreen trends are always going to be, and I sort of think of this in a couple of different ways. So there's some things that are always going to sell really well within this environment that we work in, right? Landscapes, coastal, seasonal, those kind of things. But it's like what's happening within those trends or within those categories, those sort of very evergreen categories that are trending that manufacturers are looking for. So I think it's you have to, there's things that pop in and out that are very sort of specific. Like for example, all of a sudden pickles might be trending, right? We might have some obsession with pickles. I only say that because I'm staring at my little, I don't know if anybody can see it if I hold it up. It's like my emotional support pickle. Um, and that's sort of a very in and out trend. So you have to decide, is that something that my customers or my group that I work with, like, is that what people want to see pickles? If not, don't do it. If it is, then do it. But then those evergreen categories, those are the ones that you have to be really strong in all the time.
Thanks, Anita. Is there anything else there, Gretchen or Belinda?
Someone asked, how long do trends typically last? But I think you kind of answered that, right, Anita?
Yeah, it can be hard to predict. So something like like the go west. I mean, I think we're going to see that last for quite a while. And again, I think it depends on how sort of niche the trend is. Some things are really fast in and out, and then some things really have lasting power. So sometimes it's hard to predict, right, which ones, but I think the ones that we were looking at today, we tend to present in these presentations trends that have a little bit more lasting power because we know in art licensing, things don't happen right away. So if we're developing collections today that are getting licensed, we're not actually seeing that at retail for up to a year or more. So we need to make sure that the trends that we're presenting and putting out there are relevant for manufacturers, in 12 months or more from now. So I hope that answers the question a little bit. Does that make sense, Belinda and Gretchen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Somebody
one
else is
more.
asking about whether the trends mix with Christmas at all that
I
you
think
showed, and yes.
Yeah, they do, right, Gretchen? A little bit like you probably will see some sort of cowboy, cowgirl, Western themed Christmas, 100%. And boho and all
Boho for
those kind of
sure,
things. Yeah, you'll definitely see. It definitely will cross over a little bit into holiday. And then holiday also stays very traditional. I think, I don't know if you'd agree with me, Gretchen, but like year after year, there always seems to be like a very traditional component of holiday. And then there are the little trends that kind of come in, like how we saw gnomes for quite a while, right?
Yep.
But then we're
Yep.
not seeing gnomes quite as much anymore.
Yep.
I see a question about, do we license artwork for children's products and decor? Yes, if you've got children's products or decor, reach out to us. We didn't get into some of the more whimsical things that we do or juvenile artwork, but we definitely have a major amount of that, a ton of that in our system. So definitely reach out.
And I think that's also leads me to bring up a point too, since we, also have like art directors on the call with us today, is that one of the things we talk about when we're looking at artists and having artists come on board with us is that, and Gretchen, just correct me ever if I'm sort of saying this the wrong way, but we're looking for artists that have the ability to do more than patterns, right?
Yes.
So we know that we have a lot of surface pattern designers that reach out to us, but we also need our artists to be able to create sort of more complete collections, right, Gretchen?
Yes. On top of that, if they create the main images, hero images, whatever you want to call them, they can sell them for the wall decor side of the business. If you're just giving us patterns, we're kind of stuck with just fabric.
Right. So we need to be able to create everything from dinnerware to wall decor. We want to sort of be able to have our artists have the biggest exposure across all categories within home decor. And if we just have patterns, that's very restrictive. So so all of our artists that you'll see when you come onto our website that are doing, especially when they're doing a lot of like art licensing collections, they're doing like patterns and icons and completed composition. So it can kind of run the gamut.
Good point, guys. And when we talk about artists that meet or fill a need with the partners that we work with in the home decor industry, I can think of I saw an artist that this was a while back, a couple of years ago, did an amazing job of painting grasses like meadows, fields, grasses in the wind, dune grass, that kind of stuff, but they didn't really do much more. And with that, we need a breadth of subject matters as well from artists that will be successful in this. Otherwise, it just narrows to, this is what I do.
Yeah, and because that's what our manufacturing partners need. And that's what our retail partners need, right? They need breadth of imagery.
Yep.
They don't want just, because when they really like an artist, they can go deep. So it's like provide as much as you can, right? For the looks that you can do.
Awesome. I don't see any other questions popping in at this point, unless there's some that I missed. Gretchen, Belinda, is there others?
Well, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you guys. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, everyone. We will get recording. We got to do some editing, chop off some stuff at the beginning you don't really care about, and maybe some stuff here at the end you don't really care about. But we'll get that out tomorrow. And really appreciate everyone jumping on with us.
Yeah, and if you have any questions in the meantime or something didn't make sense, just so you can shoot us a DM over Instagram, works really well, or reach out through the website, and we're happy to answer any questions. And always reach out if you want to let us know something. We always love hearing from all of you.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.